let's go ahead and jump into running backs. We just got done talking about quarterbacks. We're not going to talk about Brent. I guess real quick, Brendan Allen. I like Dobbs better than Allen. All right, so far, and I think it proved.
I do too. Yeah,
I think it proved this year that he was better and should have played him against the Green Bay Packers. All right, jumping to the next thing: running backs, Mason and Garendo. What would you give Mason? What would you give Garendo? I'm not counting CMC, just because he obviously wasn't the same. Only played 3 games, wasn't out there. So we're going to judge it based on the running backs that actually played, Garendo and Mason. What do you give them?
I give him. Well, I mean, for what he was used, I'd give Mason. I mean, be honest, probably a B plus. I mean, his average he was averaging a first down every carry. He came in this season low expectations. You didn't really have nobody really had him on the radar this season. He was leading the NFL at one point. Some
content creators actually who watched him in practice and stuff, who actually make content. They actually loved Mason last year and wanted to see more of him.
Yeah,
but there was talk that he was. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't known across the league as a good back. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I'd say I'd give him a solid B plus. Garendo, I mean, I'd give him a B. Garendo, same thing. I really liked him coming out. You know that I was a big fan of him and his speed.
You were more of you believed in his potential more in his rookie year than I did, for sure.
Yeah, and I thought he was a good receiver, which proved me wrong. Right? I almost said wrong. No, I think both running backs are really solid for us, and I think Garendo had some minor injuries this year, but he's played 16 games. You know, he's been in 16 games this season. He's played more games than any of our other running backs. So I think he has some potential for us in the future. Hopefully, Mason, I think he'll move on after next season, and he'll probably go play somewhere else.
Hopefully,
if he can. No, I'm saying I'd say that hopefully he'll be. He'll. I didn't mean hopefully. Yeah. Sorry. No, he'll play. He'll probably end up playing somewhere else next.
Next year for sure, because he deserves a shot. I understand.
I think, I like Mason, and I just, I felt bad for him not getting the love he should have from Shanahan. So
yeah, I do agree that he was kind of held back based on Shanahan and what he did with CMC there, and I understand that Mason was hurt, like you said, Strawberry. I agree with that, and that does make you second guess. But it's my own pushback on that is CMC was obviously a worse option than hurt Mason, though. Like, hurt Mason was still better than what CMC did. It's not like Mason was hurt where he couldn't play. He was hurt, but he still would have been better suited to play than CMC ever was. And I understand playing CMC would have been not fine. Like, putting him out there every now and again, sprinkle him in, get him used to the game. But it was like CMC every time.
It was like he's been playing all season.
Like he's been playing all season. Yeah. I'm going to give Mason an A. I thought he did nothing wrong. I thought A minus. Sorry, I don't mean an A. I mean A minus.
He did have 3 fumbles. So
he did have 3 fumbles. That was an issue, and he wasn't very good in the red zone. So A minus, B plus around that area. That was my only issue. He wasn't great in the red zone, and he did have those 3 fumbles. That one.
Garendo, I'll give a B plus.
You give him a B plus?
Yeah, he's a rookie 4th round pick. I mean, shit.
Garendo?
Yeah.
Garendo, I'm going to give him, actually, dude, I'm going to give him just a solid A. He deserves, he blew my mind.
Yeah.
He blew, okay, but before I get to Garendo, before we talk about, I want to jump back to Mason real quick. Let's talk about his stats. After 153 carries, he had 5.2 yards a carry, which is phenomenal, 3 touchdowns, 789 yards. I do hate that. I understand that Mason got hurt and he got taken out of the game later on. I hate that he got robbed of his 1,000 yards because I think he would have got it at some point if in those times where CMC played instead. That really bums me out. But Mason, to me, man, gets about an A minus, B plus, somewhere around there, just because, like you said, those fumbles, mistakes, and he has mad potential, and I think he deserves to be a starter somewhere. And he was a bright spot this season, especially with all that pressure of you're going to get 20 carries here, you're going to get this many carries here, you're going to be like CMC here. And he lived up, for the most part, he lived up to that hype. Is he the best player in the passing game? No. But he still made some catches and did some good things that you didn't expect from him. You kind of expect him just to be a good running back. But he kind of surprised me in some things. Him doing the jugs machine in the offseason helped him out a lot. That is something Ronnie Bell needs to do. We'll get to that later. But Mason gets a B minus, B plus. Garendo, like you said in the passing game, I was against it. I was like, this guy's raw. He's got great speed. He's a power back and a speed back. Okay. I think he can do great things, but I think he needs a year to just sit, rest, and prepare himself because I don't think he's ready. I was wrong for that. Completely wrong. That dude is actually pretty good in the pass. I remember what game it was his first game where he had a really good passing game. And I was like, dude, I think it was the Bears. It was the Bears. Like, dude, it's just the Bears. Relax. And the next game, he caught some good passes. And I was like, okay, all right, maybe I was wrong. He's pretty good in the passing game. He actually knows what he's doing. So Garendo, man, gets an A for me. He blew away my expectations. I expected a raw prospect. At first, he wasn't that good. Like at first, I was kind of proven right. Like he wasn't hitting the holes right. He almost had a butt fumble on a kick return, I think. That was terrible. He saw the hole wrong. There was a hole here, and then he ran right into his lineman. I'll never forget that because I thought it was funny. I was like, oh my God, if he fumbled, that would have been butt fumble 2.0. But Isaac Garendo is an excellent back. He's doing better at finding the holes. It's a great one cut. He's got the speed. He's smart. He knows when to get down and not take the touchdown. Props to him for that. But the only knock, literally the only knock on Isaac Garendo and his potential is his injuries. He does seem injury prone.
He's in and out, yeah.
Yeah, he's constantly getting hurt left and right. And that is a problem. That is something some players just can't overcome. Some players are just injury prone, like Tua Tagovailoa, for example. He just gets touched on the head. He has a concussion. Players are built different. Their genetics are different. And Garendo, at first, you're like kind of giving an excuse. He has just 1 or 2 injuries. Not bad. But towards the end of the season, man, where you wanted to see more of him and to see more of his potential, to see him grow, he gets knocked out of the game. Like, I think the injury he recently had in the game would have been a season-ending injury, I think. So, and we all know that season-ending injuries can alter his career. Constant injuries can hold you back. Next year, if he continues this trend, it's good. It's safe to say that he's injury prone. And with that being said about these running backs, where Mason seems to be injury prone, and he might not be back, but he might very well be because a team does have to give up a draft pick for him and pay him. So
he'll probably be back. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's going to give up anything for him, just because of his injuries alone. I do think he's a better run. He's definitely a running back that somebody would want to have on the roster in a 2-back system. I do think he's better than Montgomery, though, Strawberry. I think you're giving David Montgomery too much credit in that 2-back system. Gibbs is carrying that team. On Detroit, he's talking about David Montgomery. I think
Montgomery was better than
David Montgomery has put up less yards than Mason.
I know, but what Montgomery did, I know what you're saying by like Gibbs helped him out because it was like a 1-2 punch thing. Montgomery was clutch with his runs. When they needed a first down to ice the game, they got it. When they needed to get a first down,
I mean, he's put up less yards on more attempts.
Yeah,
he's a
clutch back.
You look at his stats compared to Montgomery, and Montgomery still put up better stats. So I don't know. I think Montgomery's better than. I think in that system, Montgomery would be way better than. Or I'm sorry, Mason would be better than Montgomery because Gibbs and Montgomery in that system would be amazing. But right, I don't want Mason to go to that team.
What team?
The Lions.
Yeah, I don't want that either. But he'll probably get injured there, though. I just think that Mason.
He'll probably get injured there. Yeah,
he'll probably get injured there.
It's a high ankle
the way
sprain.
they play.
Yeah.
They play hard nosed ball, and Mason.
It's a lower body injury for a running back is always bad news because that's always going to happen again.
Yeah. So, but I do think, with that being said about these running backs being injury prone and CMC coming back from his injury, where we agreed that he may not be the same, he still might be great, but he's not going to be the same. We agreed on that. We got backlash for that, by the way. Like, some people think, we're like, how dare you say that about CMC? He's going to full rest. He's going to be fantastic. I'm sorry. His injuries are brutal, dude. It's not. And besides, these are predictions.
Look at the history of lower body injuries on running backs, and you'll understand that it's hard for running backs to come back from those things and be 100% like they used to be. And
we're not saying that he's going to. We're not saying he can't get back to that. We're just.
It'd be great.
That's not.
Medicine's a lot different, and the things they do nowadays are a lot different than it used to be. But I'm just saying, running backs don't have a long life expectancy, especially when they had those lower body injuries. So it happens.